Welcome to our general session for April of the Community Advisory Council. My name's Matt Hovey. I'm the acting chair of the council. The reason for this meeting tonight is primarily to look to the future and to the continuation of the Community Advisory Council here in the district of U-46. So we'll start the meeting. I started a little late, letting people come in. Come on in. 7:02. The first or the second piece on the agenda is a public comment. If you'd like to make a public comment, you'll have 3 minutes to do so. And I did speak to somebody earlier that would like to do that. So go ahead. If anybody else, you have 3 minutes.
I just have a public comment to make. My family, we're Muslim, and next week is a major holiday, it's Eid, and it's like Ramadan has led up to this point, and next week we also have state testing. So we have IARs, we have PSATs that are actually on the dates. So it's like I have a 9th and 10th grader, so one of them's gonna miss it. And I just feel like with us having an equity inclusion director, that maybe we can come up with a calendar that says what are the major holidays for the students, because I mean we say that our religion is put in our registration. So I was hoping that maybe for next year and for years later on, that we can make sure that those things don't happen that kind of like mess up our week, because we don't even get a day, obviously, but you don't even get to kind of celebrate because you're missing something big. I have a second public comment, and that was just about Let's Talk. So I sent a Let's Talk, but I also sent a message to my kids' schools. And the reason I did the Let's Talk was so that the district would be aware of the situation. But I feel like it didn't go anywhere. I felt like it just went to that one person who answered the Let's Talk and did not get sent around, because I have a niece and nephew at Streamwood High School, and their reaction wasn't the same as my kids' school at South Elgin. They were told they can't retest when they can retest, because we were told we can retest. So that's my second public comment, that when you're doing a Let's Talk, that it should be kind of like take that information and spread it to the rest of the district employees, so that we're all kind of like more aware. Because I'm not complaining, I just want more awareness to it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Didn't even use all your time. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes? One moment, let me reset my timer here. You may proceed.
Muy buenas noches a todos. Good night, everyone. I'm gonna try to speak English, but I really try someone to help me. I wanna try to speak English because I wanna you feel how I feel it. And I'm mom, I'm parent. I'm a U-46 for 18 years. So my daughter's, the oldest one, she's already 19. She's in University Aurora. So I'm a single mom for almost eight years. So I really want to come to talk by parent. And I want to say I'm really grateful for all the schools and teachers. They're doing very great job, and they try to do the very great job. But I was decided to come to be probably brave, and I want to explain to my situation. So October 17th, I was attacked and Abbott for our parents to the same school. That was very, very sad for my family. I want to say I'm not a perfect mom, and my family is not perfect, but I'm trying to be the best to be parent and teach to my daughters. Always I try to teach my daughters love for other ones, but I really think the U-46 needs something to do, probably not with how they teach, or probably just how they teach, but I think more I think we need more help for the parents. I don't want to guilt the girls, even if it does come to many consequences. I can work. I'm still in therapy. And unfortunately, I received support for U-46. I moved my daughter to the other school. I'm so worried for my next daughter. It's Mia Martinez. She's going to Hillcrest. I can say always U-46 support me, but about what I ask to the best for my daughters. So, but now I don't feel that support. I'm calm today because even if I move my daughter to Kenyon Woods, still they receive attack from other kids.
I hate to cut you short, but that is in 3 minutes.
Okay.
I do appreciate you coming tonight, and there are people in this group who'd be happy to speak to you, either now or after the meeting.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agenda item is our board update. Board member Melissa Owens.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see everybody here tonight. Again, my name is Melissa Owens. I am a board member. I'm going to be giving you the update for tonight. As you probably know, there's a solar eclipse next Monday afternoon. U-46 has purchased enough eclipse glasses and viewers for each student, teacher, and staff member. We expect that thousands of students will be stepping outside, along with probably a bunch of us adults will be stepping outside to view the eclipse with their teachers on Monday. Parents and guardians who want their child to be eligible to receive the proper solar eyewear have until tomorrow afternoon to sign the required permission slip. So that's due tomorrow afternoon. Please watch U-46 social media channels next week to see how our students experience this amazing celestial event in a safe way. Summer Connection, once again, U-46 is offering a robust set of summer programs for students of all ages. These are all grouped under the title of Summer Connection. The elementary academic program is now open to all current kindergarten through 5th grade students, but spots are limited. New this year, U-46 is offering a summer program especially for elementary students who are new to the United States. There are also options for students transitioning to middle school, high school, or senior year, as well as credit recovery options and paid internships. Please visit u-46.org/summer connection for all the details and links to start the sign-up process. And spring is always a busy time in a school district. I'm sure you as parents and community members are feeling that as well. And April is no exception to that. Our next regular Board of Education meeting is this upcoming Monday, April 8th at the Educational Services Center in Elgin. Our meetings are also streamed on YouTube. The public portion of that meeting starts at 7 o'clock p.m. The African American Advisory Council will meet virtually via Zoom on Thursday, April 11th. The next meeting of the Newcomer Parent Support Group is scheduled for Wednesday, April 17th at the Welcome Center. An information session about our dual language program is being offered to families with incoming kindergarten or 1st grade students on Thursday, April 25th. It will be held virtually. And then the district has 2 fun events being held on Saturday, April 27th. The STEM Expo will be at Eastview Middle School in the morning, and if you have not been to the STEM Expo, it is something to see. The projects that those kids put on are just absolutely phenomenal. The day of the child celebration will be at Larkin High School in the afternoon. Look to the calendar on the U-46 homepage for details on those meetings and more. And that is all I have for you tonight.
All right, normally we would do an administration update, but there's going to be a great presentation that's going to touch all those wonderful things. Everybody has had a chance. There are copies of the prior meeting minutes. I would make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sarah. And anybody need to make any changes to those minutes? No changes. Can we get a roll call vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, motion passes. Next part, business agenda, our committee updates. Could I have someone from Instructional Initiatives, Heather or Ian, would you like to come up here and tell us what's been going on?
All right, I'll keep this short. Next Instructional Initiatives Committee meeting is April 17th. That's a Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Zoom, and we will be just wrapping up for the year, doing a report, going over everything we've done in the past. Am I missing anything?
All right, short and sweet. You like that? Those are really great meetings. I would encourage anybody here to attend. They're Zoom, so they're pretty convenient.
What are they?
They are,
So Instructional Initiatives Committee, this year we've been doing our results and reflection work again this year. So basically we take a look at the big initiatives, instructional initiatives that the district has rolled out over the past 5 to 10 years, and we look at the data and talk through, we've heard a lot of presentations on here's what to expect from the program, but we look at the data and say, is it really showing what we expected to show? Like what's working well, what's not, what are we doing to address what's not working well, things like that. And then we've gotten into fine arts, we've gotten into foreign language programs, things like that.
You said the 17th?
Yeah, April 17th.
all those meetings are available on the U-46 website, Community Advisory Council tab. You can see the links to our meetings and our, as well as contact information for the executive board. Next, Sarah with the Specialized Student Services.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Siddiqui. I am one of 2 co-chairs for the Specialized Student Services Committee. And for those of you who don't know how CAC works, we have committees that we can form. So if you have something that you are specifically interested in, theirs is basically like curriculum and instruction. Ours is special ed. And we used to have family engagement, we used to have safety, and we used to have
Legislative, finance,
so it's
all
just on,
sorts of.
so it's on basically what you would like to pursue, and there'll be a district liaison that comes to the meeting, and you work with them to come up with what you want to work on. So our committee, because it was special ed, we basically hosted programs for parents on topics that we thought were relevant, but we have 3 members. We'd like a lot more members that would represent more different disabilities, more maybe across the district. But this year we have basically 3 members, and we meet with Latrice Satterwhite, and we host programs. We discuss the different things that we have. So we have basically our end of the year report that we have finished. We're just going to approve it in our April 9th meeting. Our meetings are all virtual. We never meet in person just because it's harder for parents with kids with special needs to come out. So our next meeting is April 9th, but next year if you know anybody who has a child with special education, make sure that you tell them about us, because we would love to have more people.
Could you mention a few of the programs you did, a few of the seminars you did this year?
So this year we had a program on executive functioning. So we had a psychologist come and give a talk. We had about 100 people, I think about 100. I should have brought the report with me. 10. We also had the district do like a roundtable on transitions. So the transition between preschool to kindergarten, then between 6th to middle school, then from middle school to high school, and then after high school, there's transition programs the district has. So we had that. That was really informative, I think, for all parents, because we got to hear about that. And there was a 3rd one.
Was it the alphabet one?
Was it the alphabet? No, we usually do that one. We usually do one on finance, on like Social Security and different kinds of benefits. We didn't do that this year.
Did you do the anxiety one?
We did one on well, we did that one, it's okay
Yeah, it's
to be
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do different programs, anxiety, in the past, we've done ones on special needs in puberty, we've done special needs in friendships and relationships. We've done a lot of different programs, things that are kind of like what we think that a lot of people want to hear about. So if you're interested or even want to give us any kind of, direction as to what we should do our next programs on, come to our meeting, April 9th, and it'll be on the CEC website, the Zoom link for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And those are good programs, even if your child isn't in specialized student services. I know the anxiety one was very informational. We all have anxiety. I had anxiety about coming here tonight. All right. So that really completes our business agenda. The next part is for the meat of the meeting tonight. That's where Dr. Johnson will give her vision for the district and how that aligns with the Community Advisory Council. After that, we'll have a breakout session. There's some different tables here. We'll ask you to kind of move around and share your vision on what community involvement means to you and how that is going to support your children and the community. So without further ado.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Alec, I'll try not to move too much, but I'll move just a little bit.
Do your thing.
All right. So good evening, everyone. I'm Suzanne Johnson. I am the superintendent of School District U-46, and I am very thankful to have all of you here tonight. I appreciate you taking your time on a Thursday evening when you have so many other places you could be, so thank you for being here. I am excited to share a little bit about myself, first of all, personally, professionally, as who I am as a leader and the superintendent of School District U-46, a little bit about our team and the work that we are currently engaged with as a school system. And then as Matt had shared as well, how that aligns with Community Advisory Council and some considerations for how we can move forward together into the next phase and the future of U-46. So I appreciate you all for being here. In education, try to move this, we spend a lot of time talking about whys and why we do what we do, what we bring to our roles, and what we hope that our students, or what our goals will be, our objectives that our students will take away as well. So I have two pictures up here to share with you my why. And I'm going to start with the picture on the left, which is harder to make out because it's definitely aged. So in that photo, that's me as a baby, and I'm being held by my grandmother. Many of you may know, because I'm very proud of the fact that I am a second generation graduate of School District U-46. I graduated from Elgin High School. My mother graduated from Elgin High School. I am also, that's right, go Maroons. I love them all, but go Maroons for sure. I'm also a second generation educator in U-46. So my parents started their teaching, and then my father became a principal, started their careers in U-46 in 1961. And I actually overlapped started my teaching career and the end of my mother's teaching career. So as a family, I'm very proud of the fact that we've provided 63 years of service to our communities, and we've seen a lot of change. I'm very proud of that. I also have students in the schools in U-46. I live in our community. I live in Streamwood. So I have a third generation who are currently students. Some of you in this room have students who also have gone to school with my kids. We're in the same school, so I'm aware of that. But my grandmother here was my person in my life. And I think so many of you have that person, right? She believed in me no matter what audacious and wild goal, interest I had. She believed in me before anybody else and before I believed in myself. She always thought I could do it. And she would repeatedly tell me that I could do anything I wanted to do. So I had no idea really that I couldn't, because I had my grandmother supporting me on all of these things. My grandmother passed away when I was a freshman in college, but her words have always stayed with me. I share that because, again, she was my person, the person I feel, who brought me to the places I am today because of her beliefs. When I became, though, a principal many years ago now in 2011, my mother pulled me aside to have a conversation. And again, my mother was a teacher in U-46, spent most of her career teaching at Horizon. And my mom shared a story with me at that time that I didn't know about my grandmother. And so she sat me down and she said, you need to make sure that as a principal, you are always willing and available for parents. And that parents always feel as though they are welcome to come to you, to reach out to you, to reach out to your team, and to be heard. And I said, okay, well, okay, Mom, sure, we'll do that. She said, no, you really have to do this. And then she shared this story about my grandmother. So my grandmother did not finish school. Like so many people in her generation, especially women, she didn't finish school. She got married, she had her family. And my mother told me this story about when she was it would have been sophomore because she went to Abbott, but Abbott didn't move to Elgin High School at the time until they were sophomores. So she was a sophomore at Elgin High School. She was having difficulty in math class. It was an algebra class. And she would repeatedly ask the teacher for help, and he wouldn't give it to her. He would say, you're not going to need this, don't worry about it. You're not going to need this, don't worry about it. And my mom went to my grandmother and said, I'm really struggling in this class. I don't know what's going on. The teacher won't help me. I've tried to talk to the teacher. Will you please go in and talk to the teacher? Will you please go in and talk to the principal? And my grandmother said no. She wouldn't go. And my mom told me that she wouldn't go because she told my mom that they wouldn't listen to her. She hadn't finished school. And she didn't feel that she knew what she was talking about and that she would be heard or listened to. So she never went to Elgin High School to try to advocate for my mother. And I was heartbroken when I heard that story because the person who believed in me always was so filled with self-doubt for so much of her life. And I took that story that my mom shared with me, and it has become a significant part of my why. The other part that is kind of ironic now is that the very building my grandmother wouldn't go into to advocate for my mom is the building I go to work in every single day. And so I think it's remarkable, and I'm sure Willa that was my grandmother's name, is loving when I share this because Willa's granddaughter, 2 generations later, not only gets to walk into that building every day, but I have this tremendous responsibility of guiding this very district that she was so intimidated by. So that's my why. I don't want any parent, I don't want any community member, I don't want anyone to feel as though they can't be heard and they're not going to be respected and we're not here to help. Thankfully, we have a significant team filled with experts who can do that work, but that's one really significant why. My second why then, as you see those two smiling faces there, those are my children. And as I shared, my children are students in the school district. And I look at things from certainly the perspective of being the superintendent, being an educator, being a community member, but also being a parent, being a mother. And I want the same things for my students that every other parent wants for their students. I have yet to meet a parent across our vast 90 square miles who doesn't want their kids to be as prepared as they can be to be successful when they leave U-46, to do whatever, right, we're setting them out to do. They're also my why, because I know that these 2 boys, right, have the opportunity to also go out and change lives and carry with them the values and the beliefs of School District U-46. We've made a choice to be here. We've made a choice to have them in our dual language program because I want them to take our values and beliefs forward. I want them to share our focus on equity. I want them to share our focus on rigorous instruction. I want them to go forward and know that they have the opportunity to support everybody in their world to have access to that. So that's my other why and my responsibility. as I look at this. So that's a little bit about me. And then, of course, as I've touched on this, right, it becomes a bit about us. So we're the second largest district in the state of Illinois, currently about 34,000 students. That's down a little bit. We have a bit of a diminishing enrollment. Just a few years ago, we were closer to 40,000, and when I say a few years, like 6 or 7 years ago even. We have at least 95 home languages and 95 different languages that are spoken every day across our district. Those are the languages that we know about. So it's quite possible we have even more across our system. We currently have 55 schools, 11 communities, and 3 counties, and that's 90 square miles that we serve. That's a big area of land for an urban-suburban school district, roughly the size of the city of Seattle. So it gives you an idea of the expansiveness. Veronica and I were kind of joking when she arrived today, but she's way on the far northwest corner. And if we go from the northwest corner to the southeast corner of the district, it could easily be 45 minutes, if not more. So it's a vast area, second largest in the state, and an increasingly diverse student population, which is our strength and our celebration. As I mentioned, though, thankfully, it's a team sport. We have a very extensive team of experts to support this work. So as you met Ms. Owens tonight, our Vice President for the Board of Education, we have a Board of Education who is elected officials by all of you, our community members. They establish a vision, mission, goals, our strategic plan, which we're going to talk a little bit about. And then they employ me as a superintendent, and we have a cabinet. So a group of other administrators who work to support our students with, again, being as successful as they can here, growing, and being prepared to move on and do great things post U-46. We essentially have 2 sides of the house. We have an instructional side and an operational side when you think of School District U-46. So on the instructional side, you have all of the what you're learning, why you're learning it, and how our students learn. And then on the other side, we have all the operations, right? And essentially when we think about that, we have to be able to transport kids, we have to be able to feed kids, we have to be able to heat and cool students, we have to make sure we have enough money to be able to support all of those things. And in order to do both the instruction and the operations, we thankfully have a legal team in U-46, which is a rarity for school districts, to make sure that we do all of that by school code and by federal and state standards. We also have a human resources team to do all of our work to make sure we have all of our experts here to support that. So the way to think about this as well, if we took this building, turned it upside down, and shook it really hard, everything that falls out lands in the instructional side, even the furniture, because these are all items that we need to support instruction. Everything that's still in its existence, that's on the operational side. And we have a pretty extensive team then of assistant superintendents, deputy superintendents, directors, executive directors here. And many of them are here tonight. You'll get to meet many of them as well while we do some of our group work also this evening. This is our moral imperative. So as I mentioned, we have goals, and I'm going to share our 4 priorities, main priorities in just a minute. But it is our moral responsibility, our work, to make sure that all of our systems are working measurably for all students. And at this time, I cannot tell you that all of our systems are measurably working for all students. And so that is the work that we have ahead of us, instructionally and operationally, to make sure that every student has evidence, quantitative, qualitative evidence, that we are meeting their needs and they are growing at or above, right, the rate that they should be growing. So that is our work. We do that, okay, based on several different perspectives. But first and foremost, as I've shared, being a large, diverse school district, we focus on equity. And we want to make sure that all of our students have equitable access and support to do that work, and we meet the needs of our students, whether that is based on age, whether that's based on language, whether that is based on other identifiable needs, we do that work. We also do that from the perspective, the overall collective, of doing so in a standards-based, rigorous manner and having data then to support all of that. Okay? So these are the priorities. As I transitioned into my role a little bit over a year ago, I first started as the interim superintendent when Dr. Sanders was accepted his position as the state superintendent, and then officially became the superintendent on July 1. Thankfully to the Board of Education. But these were the priorities and have been the priorities as we've transitioned. So we have U-46 Rising, that is our instructional work. That idea of, again, our efforts to increase and enhance our outcomes. We have Unite U-46. Many of you recognize that that is our facilities planning work and our updates that we are doing there. We have a focus on opportunity, achievement, and recognition, and that's really the way to think about what I just described. So making sure all have the opportunity, all are achieving, and recognizing all. And that includes our colleagues as well. And then the last two here are really significant as we have a transition. It's always a concern around being able to continue the work and doing so in a stable manner. And that has been our focus as well. So, as you know, I transitioned in about the end of February. April came, and it's not as though it was like suddenly surprise, a referendum, but we had been working as a school system for quite a while, well over a year and a half, more like 2 years at least, on the planning to move forward with a referendum for bonds. And we were incredibly successful. So while some of our surrounding communities have struggled with that, I'm very, very thankful that across our 3 different counties and 11 communities, 63% of our voters agreed that we needed to add to, right, our budget, our finances, to be able to update our facilities to align with some of that updated instructional work. Even though we have that diminishing enrollment, part of this is right-sizing and updating our system. So recognizing there is a tremendous value in having updated facilities to meet the needs of our students. This has become a significant amount of our work, as many of you are aware. If you've been coming to CAC, if you've been coming to Unite U-46, if you've been engaged in that work, reading the updates, participating at your sites, you are familiar with that work. As a result, some of the actions that are now underway, and these are both operational actions as well as instruction, is preparing to move 6th grade to our middle schools in U-46. So currently, right, we are underway with this work instructionally and operationally. Updating buildings, building new schools, planning to move students. But it's not only an operational move, we're also working at updating all of the curriculum, the instructional strategies, and the resources so that our students have the opportunity to be part of a true middle school model. Along with that, as 6th grade moves from our elementary schools, we are looking to expand our pre-K offerings. So we currently have pre-K, but we know that we could have space for more. And research indicates that the sooner our students have options and access to organized pre-K instruction, the more successful they are when they transition into our kindergarten and 1st grade classrooms. And then lastly, as we work through these items, we have been bringing forward recommendations to retire, rebuild, or remodel elementary school buildings as well. So this has been work. That's certainly moving forward. The board has been asked to take action on these. It's hard to either attend or watch a board meeting and not see something coming forward on an agenda as it relates to one of these 3 items. So with all of those pieces in mind then as well, starting officially on July 1 and working through January, I had a transition plan where I was meeting with various stakeholders. So meeting with of course, our principals, our Board of Education members, elected officials throughout our area. So your mayors, your village presidents, your state legislators, right? Those were all individuals that I was working to meet with. Certainly different community groups, different parent groups as well. Interviewing these leaders, participating in as many different meetings as possible, conducting rigor walks at schools, reviewing all of those data points as well, to be able to get feedback and then provide that transition report to the Board of Education, which I did so as well in January with some of our next steps and work. And that's also part of being here tonight as well. So the opportunity to be able to engage with you, especially as we think about our future and our next steps potentially as part of our Community Advisory Council with our work as a school district. These 4 items have been the goals, continue to be the goals. So you will see we have our first goal there, certainly around our acceleration of student growth. So that is our instructional piece. We have another goal around our CTE work, so that's career and technical education, continuing to provide updated opportunities for programming across our sites. We have a third goal around increasing access and also enrollment, so not just access, but actually enrollment, students in our preschool programs. And then finally, goal number 4, establishing and operating inclusive, efficient, safe, and equitable learning environments. And that's really what is also behind updating our work. So as we've been focused on those efforts and sharing that information as we move forward, we have an opportunity to engage you this evening in giving us some feedback about potential places and ways that our Community Advisory Council can be more involved specifically in work that we are currently doing and what we expect the work to be for the foreseeable future in U-46. We have a significant plan to update instruction and our facilities. It's a plan that will move forward for many years, probably like 10. And so as we're thinking about that work, we have other pieces here to update. On the right-hand side, you have what we currently have had for quite a while, at least when it comes to Community Advisory Council. So as you heard a little bit earlier this evening around Instructional Initiatives Committee. And on the left-hand side, we have potentially broadening those topics just a little bit. And in the middle are items that are the work that's tied to that focus area. So we have 4 here that stand out right now. And I'm going to talk about the first 2, and then I'm going to ask for tap in from Ms. Celia Banks, our Director of Curriculum Instruction, here in a minute. But as I mentioned, we are getting ready to start work on a new strategic plan. That RFP is out. It's been out since March 22nd. And so to be able to have a group here who is able to be engaged and to be able to be partners and collaborate on what that new strategic plan should look like is a tremendous opportunity and a need that we have. Additionally, as many of you are likely aware, school attendance has become a challenge post-COVID. And for us as a school district, it's essential that we have students in school and we are working to address our chronic absenteeism rate. So that's a great opportunity to engage with our households, our community members, strategies and things that we can do and implement to improve our attendance rate for our students. The next 2 items then, Ms. Banks is going to come up and talk in greater detail. To no one's surprise, we have a middle school transition and then also our early learners. So, Celia.
Thank you. Dr. Johnson mentioned in our middle school transition, part of the work that we've been doing is revising and making more rigorous our middle school curriculum for our current 7th and 8th graders. And then as we transition the 6th graders up, then making sure that there is alignment between what happens in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, incorporating more college and career readiness and the types of things that then help students choose the pathways that they want to then move into when they get to high school. We've been working on also including different rotations and options and electives for our students in middle school. You've heard previously about the middle school model and ensuring that we're integrating 21st century skills so that students are able to problem solve and collaborate with others as a part of all of that they, that as they then graduate from middle school, they are a thriving adolescent. And so we've been doing a lot of work with our curriculum, our instructional strategies, and then the movement and communication of the 6th graders moving up to middle school. And then for early learners in preschool, again, as Dr. Johnson mentioned, looking at then providing more opportunities for our preschoolers in their homeschool areas. And so being able to expand the preschool offerings so that there aren't preschool hubs, if you will, but that there are more spread out and more opportunities in homeschools. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that was great. So in a little bit tonight, we'll talk about how we're going to ask for your feedback and considerations, but I'm going to continue giving you an overview, or providing an overview, I should say, of potential connections between what the work is and ways that we would love our community to support us and to be engaged in this as well. Again, on the right-hand side, we had a CAC ad hoc safety committee. So it was a committee that was identified because of certainly needs, and safety is always a concern. So one of the considerations is that it not be an ad hoc committee, right? Potential for this being a standing topic around safety and technology. And so really looking at cybersecurity and internet safety, we know that that's a priority for parents, it's a priority for households, and yet we get a lot of feedback from our students that they can't search all the things they want to search on our devices, and they can't access all of these things. So trying to figure out how we keep our students safe, and at the same time give them every opportunity they need to be able to use all these wonderful tools to be the online learners they would like to be. Bullying and cyberbullying are absolutely a focus for us to address. And how do we do so? Again, keeping our kids safe in person, keeping our kids safe when they are online. Vaping awareness, as you may have read recently, we've been partnering with the Kane County Health Department as well to enhance our communication, our education around vaping. But that's continuing to be a concern in our secondary buildings. And then our overall school climate. When we talk about our overall school climate, those are some of our conditions for learning, but it's really making sure all of our students feel that they are welcome, they have a sense of belonging, and they are safe in our buildings, and they know how to report something or who to go to if there's a problem, and that they all have at least one adult in every building that they feel is their trusted adult, their trusted certified classified employee that they can go to receive support and assistance. Additionally, as we heard this evening, we have a specialized student services committee. It's been very successful. The consideration would be to possibly expand that to include student well-being and support services, so our student services overall, including some of our topics that we hear about not only for our students, but for our 6,000-ish employees as well, around self-care, for our 22,000 households around self-care. What does that mean and how do we support people? We have food and nutrition services. A lot of our sites have what we're calling snack committees. So there's student nutrition, I'm leaving something out, Frank, and something committee, where we're asking for our students to give us input around the meals that we serve. But we know that that's an ongoing need, especially in a large, diverse school system as well. What does that look like? How can we improve the meals that we are providing? And then, of course, mental health. And mental health has been a big topic for us for quite some time now, but that continues to be a topic of need. And again, how could we expand that to a potential committee or another committee to include those items? Additionally, and I'm going to call on the amazing Carla Jimenez to talk a little bit about this one. We have had a family engagement committee, and so Carla, do you want to come up and talk through our topics here?
Sure.
So family and community engagement, we know post-COVID that really influenced that, and so it's really changed. So really seeing what are these new methods of ways that we can get our families engaged and actively participate, whether it's in our buildings, what resources, what tools can we provide to best support their children's academic journey at home. Building that welcoming environment, so going from, hey, where can I really find this, the parking lot or the entrance at school, making our buildings more welcoming visually, but also what can we have in the building for our staff to really, be able to welcome all of our families. Enhance communication. So, so many ways to communicate with our families and with our students keep coming up, right? Keep social media, email, text, but what other ways can we quickly engage our families? We continue with our traditional methods, but what else is available out there that we can get the information? And also ways of having a two-way dialogue with our families in our community. And then, of course, potential partnerships that we can continue building upon. We can't do it all ourselves. We need partners. And so what else is out there that we need to be working with? Thank you. I think there's one more. And then today, what we need is, again, as a CAC exec, we've been talking about the structure of CAC. And we want your feedback to see how should that look like, from the number of meetings that we host, the way those look, the length of the meetings. Should we go? We have these online versus in person. We record them, we post them. So what is the best way that our parents would like to see, receive, be engaged with the information and the priorities that we have that we are sharing with you today? And then the crossover that we've been seeing with Unite U-46, which we'll continue to talk about mainly around boundaries with the upcoming sessions. And so seeing what is that partnership, but still continue with CAC and other committees that we have in the district.
So with that then, we're going to transition into how we're going to ask for your feedback this evening. So I'm going to ask Mr. Brian Lindholm, our Chief of Staff, to come forward. He's going to give us an explanation of our group activity for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So what we're going to do, the last few slides that were presented had the sort of proposed committee structure for CAC with some topics that we came up with that we thought each of the committees may help us to address. So what we'd like you to do is we have a table for each of the four. So we've got curriculum and instruction, which I think is Ian and Heather over here. Safety and technology, is that you, Veronica?
Right here.
Over there, okay. And then student well-being and support services is you, Sarah. And then family engagement and community is Matt, right there, okay. So we're going to ask you in a minute to kind of spread yourselves out, a couple at each table, and we'll just give you a few minutes at each table, and then we'll ask you to rotate so you get a chance to weigh in on all of them. But what we'd like you to do is give us some feedback on the topics that we are proposing. And the two things we asked you is why you feel like it's important, and if you do feel like it's important and it's something that CAC could help us to address, how could CAC help us to address, and how is CAC positioned to be impactful and kind of help drive the work? Because I think that's important, like how we sort of pick and choose where to invest some of the CAC's energy. Is let's make sure that they're in areas where you guys are well positioned to actually kind of help move the work forward. If there's something else that we did not list that you'd say, I'd really rather have you focus on this, and I've got a lot of things to say about this certain topic, then write that in on your sheet as well and kind of tell us why that was what you selected instead. We gave you a little, the little dots, and what we'd like you to do is, if you could, is then mark, if you could only pick one item, because sometimes I think, prioritizing and like focusing efforts, that's really where the power and where you can really kind of move things forward. So we would ask you to, after you discuss amongst your team, pick why it's an important topic, how you're going to move it forward, but then mark with a dot like what for that particular area, why you feel like that would be the one that you would choose to focus the energy on. Does that make sense? If it does, let's, if you guys could all set up at your tables as the facilitators, and then everybody else, if you could just go, it looks like we're gonna have like 2 or 3 people per table. We'll give you like, I don't know, like 5 minutes at each table, and then we'll kind of rotate so you get a chance to weigh in on all 4, okay?
And then we'll also be about to answer questions.
And then we'll come back and summarize at the end, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. We're gonna wrap this up really quick. I appreciate everybody here tonight, both our community members as well as our district administration for being here tonight and sharing their ideas for the future of the Community Advisory Council. I would request if maybe we could just have one volunteer for each of the tables. It doesn't have to be the one you're at. If you're particularly, have something great to say about any of those. Would somebody like to share just their thoughts on curriculum? Can I have one volunteer?
We went over this, talk about attendance, because we know that's like a huge thing in the district. So we were talking about maybe family case management, where we have a case manager that builds the trust between the parent and the school, with finding out like what's happening with the parent at home, what's the struggles with getting the kid to school, and it's a safe place to talk where they're not judged or feel like somebody's going to call truancy on them. The other thing would be, like we talked about, start times. I know transportation was brought up because sometimes the buses are hard when we're having to work if you're in a single parent household. And the other thing would be just some options to adjust the time, as long as you're getting your kid in a certain window in the morning, for them to be, if there's something that is affecting them from getting to school, like you have a meeting, or if you're working from home, like again, a single parent who works from home or is working, and that meeting coincides with the time, that small window of getting to school, where if I bring my kid by 8:05 or 8:10, they're not, it's half day tardy or whatever the case may be.
Thank
That
you.
captured it? Okay. Thank you.
Hang on, you might be up next, I don't know. Do we have somebody talk maybe about family community engagement? Do I have someone share their thoughts on that for me?
How to get more families involved, not only at CAC, but even just within their schools, and ways to enhance the communication, different ways to get the message out, whether it's through easier ways to connect with just easy, like I have a question on this, like scanning QR codes or something. But yeah, just, what was the other one here?
I think there was also like the method, right? Like whether it should be text or email or.
Yeah, so.
I think you mentioned like that it would come from the schools.
Yeah, and trying to get schools more interactive with recruiting for CAC too.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I think kind of self-care and understanding how technology and specifically cell phones are potentially harming kids, or that different thing. And one of the things that, like, I know some of the parents in my school are, like my daughter's in first grade, so they're all trying to kind of agree on an age roughly that they'll all try to buy cell phones, or I know pie in the sky, and an idea that, giving other parents and I sense that they're not alone in keeping phones from their kids or putting restrictions on their phones, and just letting them know a broader community is kind of behind them. So thought maybe some kind of a communication that says, hey, there's this group of moms or a group of dads or parents that want to restrict cell phones, not to be overlords, but to protect the mental health of their kids and things of that nature. So.
Great point, great point.
Part of what we talked about is how it's hard for parents to communicate with each other sometimes, unless they're from like neighbors or they know each other from other activities. There's not a common place where parents can connect with other parents in the classroom, especially post-COVID with the limited amount of school events and activities. It's very hard for families to connect. And that kind of goes back to your idea, right? If parents are connecting, then they can talk about that. If parents are connecting, then they can talk about like the school climate's going to be better. Feeling all the families welcomed into the school environment. And so creating more opportunities for parents to connect, because right now it's very limited to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attendance tonight. This meeting has made me very hopeful for the future of the Community Advisory Council. Everybody's voice in here matters, and all those folks that didn't come here tonight, we want to hear their voices, and we want to have their participation. Please go out and talk about this meeting with your friends and your family and other members of your community. You people care. We need more people like you. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. One second, let me make a quick, the survey, if you didn't fill it out, please do so. If not, it will be available online. You can share that, please, on social media. If you see it out there, share it out to your friends. Get them to fill it out. We need more feedback. Yes, Ian?
So I just want to, I guess you're probably going to mention the next meeting, right?
Our next meeting is in May, yes. I don't have the date here in front of me.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. So what we are looking for board positions for that meeting.
We are looking for board positions for that meeting. So we'll have to kind of sort that out in exec to see where we're going to go. Because right now I don't know if we have a quorum to do that. So, but there are positions for executive. But we like you just to come show up to any meeting. So again, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Thank you.